It's another great weekend, and we are truly glad to have you join us today. This is Enterprise Weekend, reaching you from Enterprise Television. I am Henry Igwiki.
And I'm Choma Okohe.
All right, let's kickstart our day today, this weekend, with all that we have for our newspaper headlines. And right after that, in the jiffy, would be our main conversation also for today. So while we get everything all produced for you, please do well to visit us at enterprisetvnews.com and also like, comment, and follow us on all our social media platforms at Enterprise TV7. With us today in the studios to do justice to all that we have our own Barrister Vansu Feli, a barrister law and a public affairs analyst. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you so very much for having you today. So let's kickstart our newspaper headlines. Particularly, we have an interesting story here making rounds on both the new media and the traditional media also, and it's about the federal government saying that they didn't stop candidates below 18 years from writing Waec Neco, according to the minister. Of course, we had it that the Minister of State for Education, Yusuf Sunonu, has denied claims that there is an age limit for candidates taking secondary school exams like West African Examination Council and National Examination Council exams. So he further stated that that there is an exception, okay, that may be made for underage students applying to federal higher institutions if they are considered exceptional based on the criteria currently being developed by the ministry. I remember very clearly that we had discussed this a couple of days back, and of course your submission was direct, was so apt. But right now we are having a contradictory information from the ministry itself, saying they didn't say what we had discussed here very clearly, that made it on front pages of the newspaper.
No, they did say that. They even took it to the Federal Executive Council. You know, the meeting they used to have with the president every week. Yes, and over there, it was adopted. It was in the papers.
That there was an age limit.
Yes. Thank you. But this one is like a damage control because the public outcry is too loud. Okay. I remember we had, we even sent a pre-action notice to the Ministry of Education.
Yes.
My law firm.
Yes. So you did. You did so.
Yeah, to sue. And they got it. So maybe other people too would have sent materials and they too, they would have, because they sampled the policy and there's a lot of outcry out there. So this is damage control as far as I'm concerned. But what they should do is they should just rescind that policy completely. So
the one they are saying now that, of course, is still binds exception to students that show exceptional ability.
They are working their way back. Okay, they are trying to work their way back out of it. So they may not want to just come and say, we hereby cancel the policy or the plan to do this. But if they think deeply, they will notice that this is not, I mean, we've seen examples all over the world. There's a video trending on the internet where a 9-year-old in America flew the father in a private jet. And he was telling the daddy, I shouldn't touch this, I should touch this. He said, no, you can touch this and you can touch it. But you said it will crash if I touch this. Flying the father, they were 30,000 feet above sea level. 9-year-old girl. Yes, the father didn't touch it. In fact, the father was sitting at the co-pilot seat and the girl flew. You understand? And we have seen cases like that in America where you have a professor that is barely 10 years old. So people are exceptional. So if it has to do with learning and intelligence, people are not gifted in the same frequency.
Yeah.
So don't you think the reason
all of them to wait?
So you just said something. People are gifted. Some people are gifted. So the question now is, do you think the floodgate should be open for everyone? Because that's what the ministry is trying to curtail.
Yeah, if you are able to learn through the ranks and you are less than 18, why should you not be allowed to write the exam? Then even if you look at the Waec also have their own internal regulations. Okay. And being 18 is not part of it. So are you going to drag them into the net? Waec have their regulations. Being 18 is not part of it.
Okay.
So I don't think it's a policy that will survive, especially the age we are. This is the age of information. The age of information means that learning has incredibly increased. Okay, so you have a child that's exceptional. You too don't want your child to stay idle. You don't want your child to stay out of school. Because what it means is that the child is going to be out of school for some years. The Montessori, you don't want your child to remain at home until he's 6 before he gets to school. I was at home until I was 6 before I started primary 1. Because that was the standard then.
As at the time.
Yes, as at the time. But today, 2-3-year-old, they operate phones. They do some incredible things. So it's better, let them go and play in school. While they play, they learn at the same time.
Okay. Barrister Evans, now let's look at it from this angle. A country and a government that cannot take responsibility and accept the fact that they might be wrong in some policies and apologize and take steps to want to actually correct their mistakes, but come out to want to do damage control that is most times from the back door. How do we judge such governments?
It's a government. The Bible says, "Woe unto you, O land, when your king is a child." That means you are finished. That's what it means. Government should be able to apologize to the people. Like this subsidy is gone thing. Look at what the president went to Benji China to say.
Yeah, we're coming to that.
Okay, just the reference. You understand? You see, when government have taken a wrong step, the humble thing to do is to either resign or come out and apologize that this direction we took, having considered the following, we think we will know the appropriate direction. And we're sorry, this is what we are going to do now, having consulted widely. The decision was taken, we were hasty in taking that decision, or it was a haste. Now we have, so that's what a responsible government, a government that wants to grow with the people.
But don't you think it's likely that in the climb that we operate, the opposition might use that as an advantage?
Whether you apologize or not, the opposition are not using the same thing. They will use it all the same. But then you are able to, at least the people can see that you are honest with what you are doing. That's the most important thing. People can be suffering. People can be going through a lot. You understand? But if you give them a sense of belonging, that this thing we are in together, boys, for a while, and you are honest, you are truthful to that, people will not, people will give you the benefit of the doubt to see how far this goes. But when you just come up with policies, you don't care, even there are no laws around it, okay? Just 18, you didn't put no critical thinking process had gone into that thing.
Yes, but please, I would love you to speak to the other side of the divide, the other side of the coin, where we see parents, because it's reality. We see parents pay through their nose just to see their words, their kids promote, not necessarily because they're brilliant, but because they feel that it is the in thing. It's there, both in the primary school and the secondary school, even before they get to sit for exams. Most of them go to, what do they call it? Special centers, and have their kids registered there and they score all A's. What do you have to say about that?
That has been a menace in our society for a long time. It's been the examination malpractice is a penal offense. And it's been there. Sometimes the Waec punish those schools by withholding results, sometimes cancelling results and all that, where it is inferable that there's malpractice, where students are given chips or things, answer to questions to write. They just copy as if they are copying notes. Well, when you are doing that, you are not helping the child's intellection. You are corrupting the child from school. So when it comes out, what do you expect him to do? He will also go and look for how to cut corners. Like you see, that is why sometimes most of them, they come out with good grades. And that's what led to the post-UME. You remember that?
Yeah, exactly.
Before I don't write post-UME. When I went to university, I wrote JAM and started school.
You straight up. Yeah.
You understand?
Very true.
Now, they now go to university and set exam. That exam is supposed to test the result you are presenting. Many of them are not able to pass. Because at that time, when there was no post-UME, people get into university and at 100 level, they're not able to pass any of the courses. But when you look at their JAM results, you see something like 270, 280. So the institutions were worried that how come people do so well at JAM and they don't really do very well at their 100 level. And the questions you start at the JAM level, they are the same topics they teach them. 100 levels about what you did in secondary school. It's just a continuation of what you did in secondary school. It gets tougher the higher you go. So if you pass well at JAMB, you should be able to pass your 100 level, 200 level very well the same way you did that.
Very true.
But we find out that because malpractice is a big issue. Now, another issue also there is that the lack of quality teachers in some of the schools, that even parents pay through their nose in some private schools where they don't have enough teachers. And because the owners of school want to cut costs, okay, the public schools, the teachers, many of them are demotivated. The factors are many.
It's actually very worrisome because statistics, Choma, shows that the number of students who get hypnotized into cultism in the university, public universities, and some private universities now are usually those underage kids that get into school.
Because they have not been taught.
They've not been taught manners and all. Because don't you think this equally is part of it?
It is, but you see, the universities have a standard. Not like it can be 10 enter university here. It's 16 by the AUC.
Yes.
You understand? And most times, except for this day, as our time, you can't even get to university at that very early age. Except for few people.
You just have to finish your secondary school at the right age.
Finish secondary school. Sometimes the result is not okay. You have to rewrite UGC or the JAMB. Some people do it twice, some do it 3 times. It depends.
Okay.
Before you finish all that, some people go to university at 20.
True.
You understand?
Thank you, Barrister Faye. Let's get into the National Daily we have here. And the next is the Vanguard newspaper. The big story here. Why hardship may not end till 2027. Economy experts. And we have about 3 riders to that particular story. Suffering to even continue beyond that unless, and say economic recovery dependent on key factors, recommend what government must do for a turnaround.
All right, so we have just below that story, petrol shortage, consumers to pay more for petrol as Forex drops to 1,621 naira to the dollar.
Okay, moving into PDP, the PDP crisis. Governors Waec draw battle line over Fubara. Details are on page 13.
And also on the top strip, Edo 2024 appeal court affirms the Hodalo's candidacy as PDP rejects INEC official from Imo and Kogi.
Moving into health, breakthrough test detects prostate cancer in 15 minutes from dried blood.
Yes, I know this might be a little bit stale, but it still made it to the Vanguard newspaper. And it's about the Chidinma additionals issue, why I broke down in tears Chidinma. They're very great, interesting stories here, but let's see if we can do 1 or 2 here. But let's start with the appeal court affirming Ihodolo's candidacy. But of course, the PDP are rejecting INEC officials from Imo and Kogi. What do you think that is talking about?
The PDP cannot do, they don't have that authority to reject.
Even when they know those persons are liable to cause a mayhem like we usually see in our politics.
Well, our politics is not exactly clean, but I don't see the political party dictating for INEC. Okay, how things should go. Because the responsibility, INEC is the regulatory authority. So they are the ones that will tell political parties what to do and not the other way around. Yes, that is the truth. Even when INEC is going out of space, the only thing political parties can do is to go to court to correct that. But not that the political party will tell INEC exactly what. So it's not, I don't think that is that is right to shed such in the circumstance.
Okay, thank you, Barrister Faye. Now let's get into the PDP crisis. Governors Waec draw battle line over Fubara. Now at this point, don't you think the governors are using Fubara as a should I call him a puppet? Because they know, okay, Fubara and Waec they're not in good, they're not on the team, and definitely they're using Fubara as a means to get to Waec.
Yeah, but there are other persons who are calling outrightly for the arrest of Waec based on the threats that he issued not too long ago. Of course, Fubara will support that, and people will rally around the enemy of my enemies or the friend of my enemies, something like that. People will always go around that circle, because Waec has offended too many people, and he's been told that he's liable for anti-party activities for so many things that's going on in the PDP. It's neither in the PDP or in the APC. It's neither here nor there. And the harm is causing PDP. PDP, they are trying to make sure that they tame Wike. Very good luck to them if they can. But if they fail at it, Wike will do more damage to that political party. And that's exactly what is going on. He has the money to throw around. He has supporters. He has a lot of supporters too, who are joining forces with him to sabotage the PDP.
All right. So just before we call it a wrap on this particular segment, let's take a look at this Chidinma Adesina's issue. Of course, it's no longer news that she is representing Nigeria, Miss Universe Nigeria, which of course she had the opportunity for South Africa. But I want you to tell us more on this issue. Why is it a black man thing or an African man thing that the disunity that we create for ourselves are things that we shouldn't do? Just a couple of days back, a Nigerian won Miss Universe Island. So what are we talking about? Why are we doing this to ourselves as black Africans?
I even when you have citizenship by naturalization in any of the African countries or from another country, they still vilify you. And then they turn around and say the Caucasians, are involved in racism and all that. But the racism within black Africans, I mean, it's something else within us. Sometimes it's xenophobic. We talk about South Africa. Theirs is xenophobic. Theirs is just this. They don't know where else to put their feelings when Nigerians are involved. Because Nigerians are too smart. Nigerians will get there before you. They will live there before you. They're always at the top of the ladder, and the South Africa cannot stomach it. And they just feel that the best way is to vilify these people anywhere we see them. In all spheres, whether music, we should criticize them anywhere, just do. Some Ghanaians are doing that too. You understand? Yeah. So, but it's a problem in Africa that Africans cannot see each other as brothers. They cannot see each other as collaborators or one another as collaborators for progress and success. And for me, that is primitive.
Well, how much of our colonialists should we blame for all of this?
I don't think we should blame any of colonialists. When we were colonized, the African hemisphere were colonized by two different, let's say three, because the Portuguese were here before the Britons. You could say policy, the Francophones and Anglophones. Which other parts in Africa were colonized by somewhere else? America colonized Liberia. And is there any other country in Africa? The only country in Africa, the only country in Africa that was not colonized is Ethiopia.
Yeah.
That was not colonized, so they have their own. Their civilization is organic, because they rooted up to the countries that tried to do that. They resisted them and all that, and they have they are in a part of the world that supports such resistance. So Africans must come together. Poets have written on it. Musicians have written on that. Novelists, creative minds. That the reason Africa is not even doing very well is because of the fact that they are not united in the first place. You understand? Look at South Africa. Just about how many million people? 64 million people or thereabouts. They are not able to cooperate with even some countries in the southern part of Africa. They have problems with some countries in the southern part of the countries, South Africa, Botswana, Zambia, South Africa, Zimbabwe. So they're having problems with some of those countries. So I don't think Africa should continue this way. And the reason Africa is like this is because the AU is not effective. ECOWAS is as lame as the AU. All the international organizations within the African hemisphere, they are not as strong as the ones started by the Caucasians from the world over.
Very true.
Yeah, thank you, Barrister Philip.
Yes, that's about the size of our segment for today. But
when we return, President Bola Tinubu says petrol price increase is a bold and unprecedented decision for Nigeria's growth. We'll talk about this in a bit. Just stay tuned.